closely behind, and Bot 40 Fro holding strong in third place. It's still early in the race, but these drivers are really making some moves out there. Cedric has advanced to 3P, passing Bot 40 Fro. Stjusmajunj has moved up to 5P, surpassing Shipraman. Okyoki 3 has moved up to 7P, overtaking Simple Markers. Smurf 20 and Surianbot are in a battle for 1P, with Surianbot also dueling Cedric for 2P. Additionally, Okyoki 3 has moved up to 5P after overtaking Shipraman. Surianbot from Team Iron has made a great move and is now leading the race, surpassing Smurf 20 from Team for 20. Their battle for first place is heating up. Meanwhile, Luke Runs has also made a significant move, now sitting in 9th position after overtaking Simple Markers. Stjusmajunj and Cedric are currently battling for the 3rd position. Meanwhile, Shipraman and Bobardo are in a close fight for 6th place, with Shipraman driving a back mono and Bobardo in a Praga R1. Luke Runs has made a move to 8th place, overtaking Niai. Exciting start to the race as Surianbot takes the lead, followed closely by Smurf 20 and Cedric. It's shaping up to be a thrilling competition early on. Keeping it fast and furious out there, folks. Cedric and Stjusmajunj are fiercely competing for the 3rd position. Shipraman has made a significant move, advancing to 6th place by overtaking Bobardo. Now, Shipraman and Bobardo are locked in a battle for the 6th spot, with Shipraman driving a back mono and Bobardo behind the wheel of a Praga R1. Okyoki 3 has taken over 4P from Stjusmajunj. They are now in a heated battle for the 4th position. Meanwhile, Niai has advanced to 8P, surpassing Luke Runs. Hult03 has advanced to 7P, passing Bobardo. Niai and Luke Runs are contending for 9P, with Niai in an Osler Par 20 BMW and Luke Runs in a Praga R1. Luke Runs and Bot 40 Fro are competing for 10P, with Luke Runs in a Praga R1 and Bot 40 Fro in a BMW 320. Stjusmajunj has moved up to 4P, overtaking Okyoki 3. Bobardo has moved up to 7P, overtaking Hult03. Luke Runs and Bot 40 Fro are in a battle for 10P. Luke Runs is driving a Praga R1 and Bot 40 Fro is driving a BMW 320. Hult03 overtakes Bobardo for 7th place, driving an Osler Par 20 BMW against Bobardo's Praga R1. Meanwhile, Bot 40 Fro secures 10th place by passing Luke Runs. Bobardo and Niai are fighting for 8th place, with Bobardo in a Praga R1 and Niai driving an Osler Par 20 BMW. Meanwhile, Meyer and Kokubai 90 are locked in a battle for the 14th position. Additionally, Bot 0 to Malive has advanced to 19th place, overtaking One Serious Guy. Bobardo has advanced to 7th place, surpassing Hult03. Mukembakum has also climbed the ranks to 11th position, overtaking Luke Runs. They are now locked in a battle for the 11th spot, with Mukembakum in a KTM Expo R and Luke Runs in a Praga R1. Cedric and Stjusmajunj are fiercely contesting for the 3rd spot. Meanwhile, Hogged03 and Bobardo from Team Blast are locked in a battle for 7th place. Additionally, Bot4Fro has made a significant move, climbing to 9th place after overtaking Niaib. Hey, big shout out to one serious guy for dropping 100 bits. Thank you so much for the support, it really means a lot and helps keep the stream going. Let's keep the energy up and enjoy the race together. Stiefsmädchenjunge makes a move to 3P, surpassing Cedric. Newcambocken advances to 9P, overtaking Niaib. Niaib and Bot4Fro are battling for 10P. Botzotsfired has dropped down to 47th place, facing some challenges. Over at the front, Cedric from Team COD and Okyoki3 are fiercely contesting for 4th position. Newcambocken has made a move up to 7th place, overtaking Hogged03. Hey there, Bobardo. Thank you so much for the 100 bits. Your support really keeps this channel running smoothly. Let's give Bobardo a big round of applause, everyone. Their generosity means a lot to us here. Okyoki3 now in 4P after overtaking Cedric. Meanwhile, Niaib and Luke Runs are dueling for 10P. Simple Markers has climbed to 14P by passing ST4NBZH. The bot Queen Mandar is on fire, making a swift move up the field by overtaking 6 cars to secure the 17th position. On the other hand, Luke Run seems to be facing some challenges, dropping a significant 13 positions down to 23rd place. Similarly, Shipperman is also encountering difficulties, plummeting 13 positions to 34th place. Bucky's Flex makes a strong move, overtaking 4 cars to secure 39P. Noga77 gains ground, passing 4 cars to claim 43P. Paradox also climbs up, overtaking 4 cars to secure 44P. Bot Yes996 is aggressively closing in on Luke Runs, reducing the gap by a massive 533.4 units. For K-Host Pirate and Simple Markers are fiercely battling for the 14th position, both demonstrating remarkable skills in their respective cars. Meanwhile, Gary710 has made an impressive move, overtaking Bot 0 to Alive to secure the 19th position. Eric81DMC successfully overtakes 5 cars to secure 22P. Botgrandalive overtakes 4 cars, now at 27P. Botmericus makes a move, overtaking 5 cars and lands at 31P. Hey Niaib. Thank you so much for cheering 100 bits and supporting the channel. Your contribution means a lot and helps keep the fun going. Let's rev up those engines and enjoy the race together. Smurf20 has made a swift move up to 2P, overtaking Stiefsmädchenjunge. Newcambocken and Bobardo are locked in a battle for 6P, with the KTM Expo R and Prager are one fighting for position. In a separate showdown, Bot4Fro and ST4NBZH are dueling for 12P, with a BMW 320 and Prager are one in the mix. VideoKing24 is on a roll, overtaking 4 cars and securing 30th place. Noga77 is also making moves, passing 4 cars to claim 35th place. Unfortunately, Bot Scroogechamp seems to be struggling, falling back 16 positions to 39th place. Hey Bobardo, thank you so much for the 100 bits. Your support means a lot and helps keep the channel going. I appreciate you being part of the stream and cheering on the race cars with us. Let's enjoy the action together. Hey folks, looks like we've got some excited viewers in the house today. Keep those emojis and cheers coming. Let's bring on the hype for the racers. Bot 40 Fro is now in 27p after falling back 15 positions. Meanwhile, Bot Keith Flex has dropped to 47p. Additionally, Bot Yes996 is gaining ground on Bot Keith Flex, closing the gap by 6.8 seconds. Woo! TwitchCon hype. Lots of excitement in the air for TwitchCon. Keep those Erasa hypes coming, everyone. Let's keep the energy up for this race. For K-Host Pirate is now in 34th position after overtaking 5 cars. Bot A Better Bloke has moved up to 35th place by passing 5 competitors. Gary710 from Team for 20 has also overtaken 5 cars and is now in 36th place. Video King 24 is on the move, overtaking 5 cars to secure 23p. Koki by 90 is struggling, dropping back 11 positions to 25p. Queen Mandar is also facing difficulties, falling back 9 positions to 29p. Luke Runs is making a swift move, closing the gap to Paradox by 581.0. Smurf 20 is also gaining ground, narrowing the gap to Sarayan Bot by 2.6. Neo Texan from Team Navgum Kings has overtaken Adam GT3, now in 12p. For K-Host Pirate is closing in on Koki by 90, reducing the gap by 6.7. Meanwhile, Bobardo from Team Blast and Hugged03 are dueling for the 7th position, and Nick Nyar has climbed to 15th, overtaking Simple Markers. Eric81DMC successfully overtakes Zago22 and is now in 17th position. Meanwhile, Zago22 manages to overtake Bot Zero Jim Alive and moves up to 18th place. There's a tied battle for 19th position between Bot Zero Jim Alive and Bot 2 Kinds Flora. Neo Texan has advanced to 11p, passing ST4NBZH. They are now in a heated duel for the 11th position. Meanwhile, Simple Markers and Eric81DMC are engaged in a tight contest for 16p. Keep an eye on the action between them as it unfolds. Hugged03 has moved up to 7p, overtaking Bobardo. Hugged03 and Bobardo are in a battle for 7p. Hugged03 is driving a Osler Par 20 BMW and Bobardo is driving a Prager R1. Simple Markers and Zago22 are in a battle for 17p. Simple Markers is driving a Radical SR305 and Zago22 is driving a Prager R1. Queen Mandar is making gains on Bot A Better Bloke, reducing the gap by 5.2 units. There's a heated duel for 2nd place between Smurf 20 in a KTM Expo R and Stifs Machen Junge in an Osler Par 20 BMW. Sidriq has surged to 4th, overtaking Okyoki 3. Shipperman is dropping back and now finds himself in 40p. Meanwhile, Niaib has made a move to 7p, overtaking Hugged03. These two are now in a battle for the 7th position. Bucky's Flex is gaining on Shipperman, narrowing the gap by 8.2. Newcam Bockham has made a move to 5p, surpassing Okyoki 3. They are now in a tight battle for the position, with Mukembakken in a KTM Expo R and Okyoki 3 in an Oslo Par 20 BMW. But Yes 996 is making a strong move, closing the gap on Luke Runs by 582.1. Meanwhile, Shots Fired is also closing in on Bot Yes 996, reducing the gap by 582.8. Mukembakken has surged to 4th place, overtaking Cedric. Bot Shots Fired has significantly closed the gap to Bot Yes 996 by 6.7 units. Hugged 03 and Bobardo are fiercely contesting the 8th position, with Neo Texum advancing to 11th after overtaking ST4NBZH. Bobardo's Prager R1 has overtaken Hugged 03 S Oslo Par 20 BMW, securing the 8th position. Meanwhile, One Serious Guy and Adam GT3 are in a tight tussle for the 13th spot. Meyer is closing in on Hugged 03, reducing the gap by 4.8 seconds. Nignier is also making gains, narrowing the distance to Adam GT3 by 3.8 seconds. In addition, Super Lacroix has advanced to 18p, overtaking Zago 22. Bucky's Flex is now in 37p after overtaking 4 cars. Smurf 20 has advanced to 2p, passing Stiff's Machen Junge. Okyoki 3 has moved up to 5p, overtaking Cedric. Cedric has jumped into the 5th position, surpassing Okyoki 3. One Serious Guy and ST4NBZH are locked in a duel for the 12th spot. Meanwhile, ST4NBZH and Adam GT3 are fighting it out for 13th place. Bot Yes 996 is making a significant move, narrowing the gap to Bot Singoshi by 592.2. Meanwhile, Niibe is closing in on Okyoki 3, reducing the gap by 2.0. Also, One Serious Guy and ST4NBZH are currently in a tight battle for the 12th position. Currently, Niibe has advanced to 6th place by overtaking Okyoki 3. Street 4NBZH has also made progress, moving up to 12th position after overtaking One Serious Guy. Further back in the pack, there's a tight competition between Bot Zero Team Alive in a Toyota Corolla and Eric 81 DMC in a Prager R1 for the 18th spot. Mukembakken has moved up to 3p, overtaking Stiff's Machen Junge. ST4NBZH and One Serious Guy are in a battle for 12p. Bot Zero Team Alive has moved up to 17p, overtaking Zago 22. Bot Starbucks has dropped to position 41, facing some challenges. Mukembakken from Team Death Robots has climbed to 2nd place, surpassing Smurf 20. Mukembakken from Team Death Robots and Smurf 20 are currently battling for the 2nd position. Bot Shots Fired is rapidly gaining ground on Bot Yes 996, reducing the gap by 555.1. Smurf 20 and Stiff's Machen Junge are fiercely competing for 3p with their KTM Expo R and Oslo Par 20 BMW respectively. ST4NBZH has advanced to 12p, overtaking One Serious Guy. ST4NBZH is closing in on Meyer, reducing the gap by 5.2 seconds. Stiff's Machen Junge has advanced to 3rd place, overtaking Smurf 20. An intense battle for third position is ongoing between Stivsmage in an Oslo Par 20 BMW and Smurf 20 in a KTM Expo R. But Champ drops to 42p. Nicknier closes in on Meyer, reducing the gap by 3.1. Bot 0 to Live advances to 17p, overtaking Eric 81 DMC. Paradox is rapidly closing in on Bot Champ, reducing the gap by 19.8 units. Meanwhile, Neo Texan is also making gains, narrowing the distance to Hooked 03 by 3.3. Zagoat 22 has made a move up to 18p, successfully overtaking Eric 81 DMC. Flora is making gains on Adam GT3, closing in by 6.9. Newcambocken is catching up to Sir Ironbot from Team Death Robots, narrowing the gap by 3.3. Neo Texan is closing in on Hooked 03, reducing the gap by 2.1. Scrooge Champ advances 5 spots to 37p. Okyoki 3 now at 5p, passes Sidriq from Team COD. Nicknier moves up to 11p, overtaking Meyer. Bot, Evolution 954 has made an impressive move, overtaking 7 cars to claim 37p. Similarly, Bot Singoshi has overtaken 6 cars and secured 39p, while Bot Starbucks has also overtaken 6 cars to take the 40th position. Adam GT3 is now just 7.1 seconds behind Street for NBZH, closing in fast. Bot Keith Flex is making moves, gaining 4 positions to reach 43p. Meyer and one serious guy are locked in a battle for 12p. Luke is making a quick move, narrowing the gap to Gary 710 by 14.0. Bot Mericus is also catching up to Bot Showbax, closing in by 5.1. Meanwhile, Bot Yes996 is making a significant gain on Paradox, closing the gap by 578.4. Bot Showbax is closing the gap on Luke Runs by 7.6 units. Bot Yes996 is narrowing the distance to Paradox by 20.7 units. Bot Zotsfired is rapidly closing in on Bot Yes996, reducing the gap by 578.5 units. Stivsmage is making gains on Newcambocken, closing the gap by 4.4 seconds. ST4NBZH has advanced to 14th place, surpassing Adam GT3. ST4NBZH and Adam GT3 are currently engaged in a battle for the 14th position. Stivsmage has made a significant move, now in 3rd place after overtaking Smurf 20. They're locked in a heated battle with the Oslo Par 20 BMW and KTM Expo R respectively. Meanwhile, Sidriq and Niaib are fiercely competing for the 6th position. Neo Texan has dropped back to 21p, while Bot Evolution 954 is down to 44p. Meyer has made a move, grabbing 11p from ST4NBZH. Gary_710 is making a strong move, closing the gap by 10.7 seconds on Fouquet Host Pirate. It's a tight battle for 3rd place between Stivsmage and Smurf 20 from Team for 20. Meanwhile, Okyoki 3 is steadily gaining ground on Smurf 20, closing the gap by 3.1 seconds. Paradox is on the move, closing in on Bot Evolution 954 by 599.6 units. Niibe is gaining ground on Okyoki 3, reducing the gap by 2.0. One serious guy has overtaken ST4NBZH, advancing to 12p. Nickniar is closing in on Hugged 03 by 5.3. Bot Showbax is narrowing the gap on Bokrand Alive by 27.8. Gary 710 has slipped back 6 positions to 42p. Smurf 20 is narrowing the gap to Nukembakken by 3.6. Nickniar is closing in on Hugged 03, shortening the distance by 2.8. One serious guy and Meyer are locked in a battle for 11p. Meyer and Adam GT3 are neck and neck for 12th place. Meanwhile, Adam GT3 is also fighting with Saint 4NBZH for 13th place. And at the back of the pack, Bot Daisy Chains and Simple Markers are battling it out for 20th place, with a BMW 320 Psi and a Radical SR 305 respectively. Neo Texan has slipped back to 44p, facing some challenges there. In the front, Nukembakken has taken the lead from Smurf 20, who now holds the second position, overtaking Sarayan Bot. Niibe has advanced to 5th place, surpassing Sidriq. Sidriq has climbed to 6th place, overtaking Bobardo. Bobardo has risen to 7th place, passing Sarayan Bot. Hugged 03 has surged to 8th place, passing Sarayan Bot. Adam GT3 and Meyer are dueling for the 12th spot. Eric 81 DMC and Simple Markers are locked in a battle for 19th position, with Eric 81 DMC in a Praga R1 and Simple Markers in a Radical SR 305. Bot 4th Pro has impressively narrowed the gap to Coca by 90 by 10.6. Meanwhile, Bot A Better Bloke is gaining on Bot Patzers, closing in by 8.8. Additionally, Stjus Machenjunch has made a move, advancing to 2p by overtaking Smurf 20. Niibe is closing in on Okyoki 3, reducing the gap by 2.9 seconds. Bot Zero to Malive has advanced to 15p, surpassing Zago 22, while Simple Markers has also made progress, moving up to 18p by overtaking Eric 81 DMC. Stjus Machenjunch and Smurf 20 continue their intense battle for 2nd place, with one serious guy making significant gains on Nickniar. Meanwhile, Simple Markers and Eric 81 DMC are locked in a close fight for the 18th position. Smurf 20 and Okyoki 3 are fighting for the 3rd spot, with Smurf 20 in a KTM Expo R and Okyoki 3 in an Oslo Par 20 BMW. Meanwhile, ST4NBZH has taken over the 13th position from Zago 22, who in turn has passed Meyer and moved up to 14th place. Hugged 03 from Team Navgum Kings is closing in on Bobardo, reducing the gap by 5.0. Meyer has encountered difficulties and dropped 8 positions to 22p. Bot Heath Flex is rapidly closing the gap on Bot Evolution 954, reducing it by 586.2. Bot Scrooge Champ is gaining on Bot Quingbunda, reducing the gap by 5.1 seconds. Sidriq and Bobardo from Team Blast are fighting for 6p. Sidriq is in an Oslo Par 20 BMW, while Bobardo is in a Praga R1. Hugged 03 and Sarayan Bot are battling for 8p. Hugged 03 is driving an Oslo Par 20 BMW, and Sarayan Bot is in a Parma Jaguar JP1. Newcambocken has slipped back to 10th place. Video King 24 is closing in on Jump 073 by 12.2 units. Kokubai 90 is gaining on Meyer, reducing the gap by 69.0. One Serious Guy is making a big move, closing in on Newcambocken by 41.4 units. Meanwhile, Okyoki 3 and Smurf 20 are fighting for the top spot, with Smurf 20 also battling Stiffs Machenjunge for second place. Exciting developments at the front of the pack. Adam GT3 is making a strong move, closing the gap on Newcambocken by 35.1. Meanwhile, Stiffs Machenjunge has jumped to 2p after overtaking Smurf 20. Nick Niar is also on the move, taking 7p from Bobardo. Niaib successfully advanced to 3rd place, surpassing Cedric. Following that, Cedric made a move to claim 4th place from Surayan Bot, who then fell to 5th after being overtaken by Smurf 20. Botsingoshi is making a strong move, closing in on Paradox by 599.6 units. Meanwhile, Cedric is also gaining ground on Niaib, narrowing the gap by 2.1 units. Impressive display by Hugged03 from Team Navgum Kings, as they've climbed to 6p, overtaking Smurf 20. Botsotsfired is making a strong push to catch up to Bot, Yes996, reducing the gap by 555.4. Exciting battle for 4p between Cedric in the Oslo Par 20 BMW and Surayan Bot in the Palmer Jaguar JP1. Meanwhile, One Serious Guy has advanced to 7p, overtaking Bobardo. Surayan Bot takes the lead after overtaking 4 cars. One Serious Guy is closing in on Hugged03 by 5.1. Bot Queetmundar is narrowing the gap to Bot Spearlai Kyle by 52.3. Bobardo is on the charge, swiftly overtaking 4 cars to secure 3rd place. Adam GT3 is also making moves, passing 5 cars to claim 4th position. Newcambocken is right behind, overtaking 5 cars to snag 5th place. Street 4 NBZH has made an impressive move, overtaking 5 cars to secure the 7th position. Simple Markers is also on the move, passing 4 cars to take 9th place. Nick Niar is making strides as well, overtaking 4 cars and now sitting in 10th place. Paradox is rapidly closing in on Amy, reducing the gap by 596.0. Bot, Yes996 is swiftly reeling in Paradox, closing the gap by 585.0. SD4NBZH is making gains on Smurf 20, closing the gap by 2.5. Bot Daisy Chain slips back 6 spots to 23p. Newcambocken closes in on Adam GT3, reducing the gap by 4.8 seconds. Simple Markers and Nick Niar are fiercely contesting 9p, with Simple Markers in a Radical SR305 and Nick Niar in a KTM Expo R. Newcambocken and Smurf 20 are locked in a tight fight for the 5th position. Meanwhile, Nick Niar has advanced to 9th place, overtaking Simple Markers. A battle for 9th position is now brewing between Nick Niar in a KTM Expo R and Simple Markers in a Radical SR305. Adam GT3 is on the move, closing in on Smurf 20 by 9.9 units. Botgrandalive is also making gains, narrowing the gap to Luke Runs by 12.4 units. Paradox is on a mission, reducing the distance to bot Singashi by a whopping 591.7 units. Shipperman is making swift progress, closing the gap to bot Queen Mandar by 13.6. Meanwhile, bot Zotsfired is closing in on Paradox, reducing the gap by 6.4. The battle for 4th place is heating up between Adam GT3 in a Praga R1 and Nukembokim in a KTM Expo R. Hugged03 is gaining on Bobardo, closing the gap by 6.5. Bot Scrooge Champ is closing in on bot Queen Manda, reducing the gap by 16.3. Adam GT3 has advanced to 3P, overtaking Smurf20. Smurf20 and Adam GT3 are battling hard for 3rd place, with Smurf20 in a KTM Expo R and Adam GT3 in a Praga R1. Eric81 DMC and Bot Zero Alive are locked in a tight fight for the 17th position, Eric81 DMC driving a Praga R1 and Bot Zero Alive in a Toyota Corolla. Zago22 is making a strong push, reducing the gap to Susanne Greenberg by 2.9 seconds. Bot Queen Mandar is closing in on Bot 40 Fro, reducing the gap by 8.3 seconds. Adam GT3 and Smurf20 from Team for 20 are in a battle for 3P. Adam GT3 is driving a Praga R1 and Smurf20 from Team for 20 is driving a KTM Expo R. Meyer is narrowing the gap to John 073 by 2.3 seconds. Video King 24 has dropped to 20th position, while Paradox is gaining on Botter Better Bloke. Smurf20 has made a move to 2nd place, overtaking Nukembokim. Niaib takes 6th place from Nick Niar. Meanwhile, Nick Niar bounces back to 7th, passing one serious guy. Okyoki3 from Team COD advances to 11th, overtaking Hugged03. Bobardo is making a strong move, closing the gap by 11.3 on Hugged03. Kokubai90 is also on the move, closing in on Locus 77 by 8.7. Meanwhile, Simple Markers has overtaken Hugged03 and moved up to 8P. Kokubai90 is closing in on Locus 77, reducing the gap by 48.8 units. Bot Zotsfired is catching up to Bot Yes996, closing the gap by 562.6 units. Hugged03 moved up to 8P, overtaking Simple Markers. Bot Daisy Chains is making a strong move, reducing the gap to Susanne Greenberg by 5.4. Nick Niar has climbed to 6P, passing ST4NBZH. Bobardo has also advanced to 9P, overtaking Simple Markers. Bobardo showing impressive pace as he closes in on Okyoki3, reducing the gap by 16.8. Meanwhile, Smurf20 and Nukembokim are locked in a battle for 2nd place. Okyoki3 has made a move up to 8th, overtaking Bobardo. Simple Markers has dropped to 20th place, while Botter Better Bloke is closing in on Bot Keith Flex. Meanwhile, Adam GT3 is narrowing the gap with Nukembokim by 2.3 seconds. John 073 has made significant progress, now in 20th place after overtaking Simple Markers. Meanwhile, Bot Starbucks has also advanced to 40th place by passing Bot Evolution 954. Amy has progressed to 41P, surpassing Bot Singashi. Bot Singashi has advanced to 42P, overtaking Bot Keith Flex. Bot Flex has moved up to 43p, overtaking Bot Evolution 954. Okyoki3 has advanced to 8p, overtaking Bobardo. A tight battle between Okyoki3 in an Osler Par 20 BMW and Bobardo in a Praga R1 for the 8th position is underway. Super Lacroix has made gains, now sitting at 14p after overtaking Eric 81 DMC. Bot Spearlike Kyle is closing in on Bot Daisy Chains, cutting the gap by 6.9 units. Bot Starbucks is narrowing the distance to Bot Showbacks by 5.6 units. Stifsmädchen Junge has advanced to 9p, surpassing Bobardo. Bot Yes 996 is making a rapid comeback against Bot Evolution 954, reducing the gap by 562.5 units. Meanwhile, Stifsmädchen Junge and Bobardo are engaged in a fierce battle for the 9th position. In addition, Eric 81 DMC has advanced to 14th place after overtaking Super Lacroix. Stifsmädchen Junge advances to 8p after overtaking Okyoki3. The two are now locked in a battle for 8th place. Meanwhile, Okyoki3 and Bobardo are engaged in a close competition for the 9th position, showcasing their skills in their respective cars. Nickniar has made a move, securing 5th place after overtaking Niarb. Zagoat 22 is now in 18th position, successfully overtaking Meyer. A close battle is on between Zagoat 22 and Meyer for the 18th spot. Bot Grandalive is making a strong move, narrowing the gap to Bot 40 by 43.4 units. Nukambokken is gaining ground on Smurf 20, reducing the gap by 2.8 units. ST4NBZH and Sidriq from Team COD are fiercely battling for 12p, with ST4NBZH in a Praga R1 and Sidriq from Team COD driving an Osler Par 20 BMW. Hogt03 is closing in on Niarb, reducing the gap by 5.6. Super Lacroix is rapidly catching up to Sidriq, narrowing the gap by 12.4. Bot Starbucks is on the move, overtaking for cars to secure 34p. Bot 40 Fro is making gains, narrowing the gap to Bot Quitmandar by 5.9. Bot Yes 996 is also closing in on Bot Singashi, reducing the gap by 13.0. Niarb has taken the 5th position from Nickniar. Jond073 is making a strong push, closing in on Bot Zero Team Alive by 5.9. Meanwhile, Niarb has moved up to 4th place, overtaking Nickniar, who has advanced to 5th after overtaking Adam GT3. Bot Starbucks is making a strong push, now just 6.6 seconds behind Bot Scrooge-chan. Hogt03 has climbed to 6th place, passing Stifsmädchen Junge, who in turn overtook Adam GT3 for 7th place. Paradox is making a swift move, narrowing the gap to Bot Singashi by 575.7. Smurf 20 is also gaining ground on Surayan Bot, closing in by 3.9. Meanwhile, Sidriq has taken over 12p from ST4NBZH. Bot Yes 996 is making a significant move, closing in on Paradox by 571.3. Meanwhile, Eric 81 DMC has advanced to 14th place, overtaking Super Lacroix. Both drivers are now engaged in a close battle for the 14th spot. Video King 24 is closing in on Susanne Greenberg, reducing the gap by 5.3 seconds. Niaib and Nick Niar are battling for 4P, with Niaib in an Oslo Par 20 BMW and Nick Niar in a KTM Expo R. But 2 Kinds Flora has moved up to 15P, overtaking Super Lacroix. Bot Keys Flex is narrowing the gap to Bot Crandalive by 45.5 units. Meanwhile, Bot Zots Fired is closing in on Bot Yes 996 with a gap reduction of 568.7 units. Additionally, Bot 2 Kinds Flora has advanced to 14P, overtaking Eric 81 DMC. Kokubai 90 is advancing, reducing the gap to Susanne Greenberg by 10.1. Amy is closing in on Bot Singoshi, reducing the gap by 9.0. Nick Niar is narrowing the gap to Nikenbakken by 2.2. Bot Crandalive is quickly reeling in Luke runs, reducing the gap by 47.6. Amy is also closing in on Bot Singoshi, narrowing the gap by 11.1. Exciting battle for 4th place between Nick Niar in a KTM Expo R and Niaib in an Oslo Par 20 BMW. Bot Scrooge Champ is closing in on Bot Quinlinda, reducing the gap by 45.4. Paradox is also making gains, closing the gap by 23.4 on Bot A Better Bloke. Meanwhile, Okyoki 3 and One Serious Guy are locked in a battle for 9P, with different cars adding to the excitement of their exchange. Hugged 03 is closing the gap on Niaib by 2.6. Simple Markers and Jump 073 are in a battle for 20P. For K-Host Pirate is closing the gap on Bot Scrooge Champ by 2.1. Flora's Bot 2 Kinds is making gains on ST4NBZH, reducing the gap by 2.2. Meanwhile, Susanne Greenberg and Kokubai 90 are fiercely battling for 27P in their Y.O concept Funio for RC and Praga R1, respectively. Also, Bot Mericus has advanced to 37P, overtaking Bot Starbucks. Bot Daisy Chains is gaining on Jump 073, reducing the gap by 5.9. Stiffs Mädchen Junge is closing in on Hugged 03, reducing the gap by 2.8. Adam GT3 has climbed to 10P, overtaking One Serious Guy. Bot Singoshi is gaining on Bot Starbucks, reducing the gap by 3.4. Meanwhile, Bot A Better Bloke has advanced to 44P, overtaking Bot Evolution 954. Paradox is closing in fast on Bot Evolution 954, reducing the gap by a remarkable 579.3 units. Video King 24 is gaining ground on Bot Spearlike Kyle, narrowing the distance by 2.9. Luke Runs is also making headway, closing in on Shipraman by 2.3 units. Paradox is rapidly gaining on Bot Evolution 954, reducing the gap by 6.2. Nick Niar is closing in on Nikenbakken from Team Deck Robots, narrowing the gap by 2.0. Okyoki 3 is reeling in Bobardo from Team Blast, reducing the gap by 4.4. Bot Patzers is catching up to Gary 710, reducing the gap by 7.4. Smurf 20 is closing in on Surahin Bot, reducing the gap by 2.5. Nick Niar is also closing in on Nikenbakken, reducing the gap by 2.8. Nick Niar is closing in on Nikenbakken, reducing the gap by 4.2. Meanwhile, Adam GT3 and One Serious Guy are locked in a battle for 10th position. Additionally, Bot 2 Kind's Flora is narrowing the gap on ST4 NBZH by 2.0. Eric 81 DMC and Super Lacroix are battling for 15p. Eric 81 DMC in a Prager R1 and Super Lacroix in a Global GT Light. Susanne Greenberg is closing in on Coca by 90, reducing the gap by 3.5. Bot Starbex has advanced to 38p, overtaking Gary 710. Bot Daisy Chains making a strong move, overtaking for cars to secure 19p. Video King 24 closing in on Bot Spearlike Kyle, reducing the gap by 10.6. Okioki 3 overtakes Bobardo, moving up to 8p. Hubbed 03 is quickly reeling in Nick Nair, closing the gap by 8.0. Noga 77 is quickly reeling in Video King 24, closing the gap by 580.3. Bot Queen Mandar is quickly reeling in Bot 40 Fro, closing the gap by 16.9. Smurf 20 is making significant progress, reducing the gap to Sarayan Bot by 26.1. Meanwhile, Bot Daisy Chains is struggling and has dropped back 6 positions to 28p. Keep an eye on Smurf 20 as they continue to close in on Sarayan Bot. Bot Scrooge Champ is making a move, reducing the gap to Bot Queen Mandar by 8.1. There's a lively chase as Bot Crendelive closes in on Bot Scrooge Champ, narrowing the gap by 47.4. Meanwhile, Bot Yes996 is swiftly closing in on Bot Singoshi, reducing the gap by 526.9. Bot Yes996 is making an impressive charge, closing the gap on Bot Singoshi by 15.2. Meanwhile, Smurf 20 is gaining ground on Sarayan Bot, narrowing the gap by 2.1. Keep an eye on Meyer and Eric 81 DMC as they battle for 14th place. Okioki 3 and Bobardo are fighting for 8th place. Okioki 3 is in an Osler Par 20 BMW while Bobardo is driving a Prager R1. Meyer and Eric 81 DMC are locked in a battle for 14th place. Meanwhile, Bot Scrooge Champ has advanced to 30th place, overtaking Bot 40 Fro. Shipperman climbs up to 36p after passing for cars. Bot Better Bloke closes in on Amy by 597.3. Bobardo advances to 8p, overtaking Okioki 3. Bot Sharkeramen is closing in on Simple Markers, the gap now down by 5.8. Smurf 20 is narrowing the distance to Sarayan Bot by 2.3. Bobardo from Team Blast is reducing the gap to Stiffs Machen Junge by 2.8. Eric 81 DMC has advanced to 14th place, surpassing Meyer from Team Death Robots. Bot Scrooge Champ is making gains on Bot Queen Mandar, reducing the gap by 3.1. Bot Mericus is closing in on Bot Patzers, shrinking the gap by 2.7. Amy is making a significant move, closing the gap by 52.6, while Bot Yes996 is also closing in on Paradox with a 6.9 reduction in the gap. Amy's progress is quite impressive, making this an exciting moment in the race. Smurf 20 is narrowing the gap to Sarayan Bot by 2.5. Adam GT3 is closing in on Okioki 3 by 4.7. Eric 81 DMC and Meyer are battling for 14p. 81DMC and Meyer are fighting for position 14. Meyer is also battling Bot, 2 Kinds Flora for position 15, with a Prager R1 against a Toyota Corolla. Additionally, John 073 and Simple Markers are engaged in a tight contest for position 20. Susanne Greenberg is swiftly gaining on Coca by 90, closing the gap by 8.0. Bot, Yes 996 is rapidly gaining on Paradox, narrowing the gap by 598.4. Adam GT3 is closing in on Okioki 3, reducing the gap by 4.1. Hey, welcome back MBG 2129. Great to have you back in the race car spectating action. Let's enjoy some fast-paced fun together. Botspierlai Kyle is making a strong push, narrowing the gap to Botchak Romain by 5.1. Meanwhile, Bot, Evolution 954 is rapidly closing in on Bot Singoshi, reducing the gap by 573.1. Additionally, Niibe is gaining ground on Mukembakum, closing the gap by 4.4. Paradox is making a strong move, narrowing the gap by 584.8 to Bot, Evolution 954. Eric 81DMC is also gaining ground, reducing the gap by 4.3 to ST4NBZH. Meanwhile, Gary 710 has advanced to 33p, overtaking Shipperman. One serious guy is making gains, closing in on Adam GT3 by 2.8 seconds. Bot Daisy Chains advances to 27p, surpassing Susanne Greenberg. Shipperman moves up to 33p, overtaking Gary 710. Nicknyar is closing in on Niibe, reducing the gap by 3.3. Eric 81DMC is reeling in ST4NBZH, closing the gap by 4.4. Noga 77 is reeling in Video King 24, closing the gap by 4.4. Okioki 3 has just overtaken Bobardo, placing in 8p. Both drivers are locked in a heated battle for that position. Meanwhile, John 073 and Simple Markers are engaged in a tense duel for 20p. Bot, Evolution 954 is on the move, closing in on Botkeith Flex by 6.0 units. Meanwhile, Okioki 3 and Bobardo are duking it out for 8p, with John 073 and Simple Markers also locked in a battle for 20p. Luke is making some serious ground on Bokweemunda, closing that gap by 43.9. Meanwhile, Bot, Evolution 954 is gaining on Botkeith Flex, reducing the gap by 15.3. And it looks like Okioki 3 and Bobardo are having a fierce battle for the 8th position, with Okioki 3 in an Oslo Par 20 BMW and Bobardo driving a Prager R1. Smurf 20 is closing in on Sarayan Bot, reducing the gap by 2.9 seconds. Exciting battle for 8th place between Okioki 3 and Bobardo. And Meyer is narrowing the gap to ST4NBZH by 2.3 seconds. Nicknyar is making a charge, closing in on Niibe by 2.6. Okioki 3 and Bobardo are in a tussle for 8p, with their Oslo Par 20 BMW and Prager R1 respectively. Botscrooge Champ is closing in on Susanne Greenberg, reducing the gap by 3.6. Smurf 20 has surged to 1p, passing Mukembakum. Meanwhile, Mukembakum has climbed to 2p, overtaking Sarayan Bot. Meyer and Eric 81DMC are locked in a battle for 14p. Okyoki 3 and Bobardo are fiercely competing for the 8th position, with Okyoki 3 in the Osler Par 20 BMW and Bobardo in the Praga R1. Meanwhile, Simple Markers and John 073 are locked in a battle for 20th place. Finally, Bok Queenmander is fighting with Luke Runs for 31st place, with Bok Queenmander driving an Audi A4 and Luke Runs in a Praga R1. Miaib is making a strong move, closing in on Surayanbot by 46.2. Meanwhile, Eric 81 DMC has overtaken Meyer and is now in 14th place. Surayanbot is closing in on Nukembokum from Team Death Robots, reducing the gap by 3.5 seconds. Bobardo has advanced to 8P, overtaking Okyoki 3. Eric 81 DMC and Meyer are currently battling for 14P. Surayanbot has made a strong move to 2P, overtaking Nukembokum. Meyer's also making progress, now at 14P after passing Eric 81 DMC. Super Lacroix and Bot Zero Shimalive are in a tight battle for 17P with different cars. Global GT Light versus Toyota Corolla. Miaib is making a significant move, closing the gap on Nukembokum by 37.0. Additionally, Hogged 03 has gained ground, overtaking Stiffs Machenjunge to secure the 5th position. Surayanbot has made a swift move to take the lead from Smurf 20. Impressive maneuver from Okyoki 3 as they overtake Adam GT3 to secure 8th position. Adam GT3 responds with a quick overtake, moving up to 9th place ahead of One Serious Guy. Nukembokum is making a strong move, quickly closing the gap by 9.2 seconds behind Smurf 20. Meanwhile, Sidrik has moved up to 11th place, overtaking Niknyar. Nukembokum is gaining on Smurf 20, reducing the gap by 11.8. ST4NBZH is closing in on Niknyar, narrowing the gap by 13.7. Nukembokum continues to close in on Smurf 20, reducing the gap by 11.8. John 073 makes a move, now in position 19, overtaking Simple Markers. Simple Markers responds, now in 20th, passing Botcharkaramen. Botcharkaramen climbs to 21st, overtaking Bot Zero Shimalive. Eric 81 DMC has advanced to 14P, passing Meyer. Bot Spearlike Kyle has progressed to 22P, overtaking Bot Zero Shimalive. Kokubai 90 has moved up to 25P, surpassing Mogus 77. Bot, Two Kinds Flora is making gains on Meyer, reducing the gap by 5.8 seconds. Video King 24 is also closing in on Bot Zero Shimalive, narrowing the gap by 27.1 seconds. Bot, Two Kinds Flora continues to close in on Meyer, reducing the gap by 5.8 seconds. Video King 24 is closing in on Bot Zero Shimalive by 8.8 units. Bobardo is closing in on Stiffs Machenjunge by 2.3 units. Super Lacroix and Zago 22 are battling for 15P with the Global GT Light and Praga R1 respectively. Adam GT3 and One Serious Guy are duking it out for the 9th position. Meanwhile, Super Lacroix and Zago 22 are engaged in a tussle for 15th place. And in other news, Bot Spearlike Kyle has advanced to 21st after overtaking Bot, Two Kinds Flora. One Serious Guy makes a swift move, overtaking for cars to secure 6P. Bot Zero Team Alive is gaining on Bot 2 Kinds Flora, closing the gap by 11.5. Video King 24 is also closing in on Bot Zero Team Alive, reducing the gap by 5.9. Nickniar makes a strong move, overtaking 5 cars to secure 7th place. Sidreek is closing in on Okioki 3, reducing the gap by 23.8. Meanwhile, Meyer is gaining ground on Botcharkaramen, narrowing the gap by 7.1. ST4NBZH is on the move, parsing for cars to claim 9th position. Meanwhile, Nickniar is making gains, narrowing the gap to one serious guy by 2.0. Another impressive overtake by ST4NBZH as they pass Stiftsmaichenjunge for 9th place. Shipperman is closing in on Bokqueenmunda, reducing the gap by 10.2. Nickniar is catching up to one serious guy, closing the gap by 2.1. Super Lacroix has climbed to 14p, overtaking Zago 22. Zago 22 and Simple Markers are neck and neck for the 15th position. Botcharkaramen has made a move up to 18th, parsing Eric 81 DMC. Meyer is gradually closing in on Eric 81 DMC, reducing the gap by 3.6 seconds. Simple Markers has advanced to 15p by parsing Zago 22, while Meyer has moved up to 19p after overtaking Eric 81 DMC. Keep an eye on these drivers as the race progresses. Yarkaramen is making gains, narrowing the gap to Jump 073 by 3.5 units. Eric 81 DMC has made a move to 19th place, parsing Meyer. The battle for 26th is heating up between Daisy Chains in a BMW 320i and Nulgus 77 in an Osler Par 21 Honda. Eric 81 DMC is making significant gains, reducing the gap to Meyer by 17.1. Botcharkaramen advances to 17p, surpassing Meyer. Meyer climbs to 18p, overtaking Eric 81 DMC. Meyer and Eric 81 DMC are currently fighting for the 18th position. Bot Zero Team Alive has advanced to 22nd place, surpassing Jump 073. Meanwhile, Bot Daisy Chains has progressed to 26th place, overtaking Nulgus 77. Video King 24 is making serious gains, closing the gap to Jump 073 by 6.8 seconds. Meanwhile, Sidreek from Team COD is closing in on Okioki 3, reducing the gap by 2.0 seconds. And we've got Eric 81 DMC and Meyer battling it out for position 18. Meyer has advanced to 18p, surpassing Eric 81 DMC. They are currently battling for 18p. Meanwhile, Bot A Better Bloke and Bot Showbackst are engaged in a competition for 38p. Eric 81 DMC has made a move and is now in 18p, overtaking Meyer. It looks like Bot Showbackst and Bot A Better Bloke are really battling it out for 38p. Meyer advances to 18p, overtaking Eric 81 DMC. They are now locked in a battle for 18p. Meanwhile, Bot Showbackst and Bot A Better Bloke are dueling it out for 38p. ST4NBZH is gaining ground on Meai, reducing the gap by 4.4. Meyer and Eric 81 DMC are locked in a battle for 18th place. Meanwhile, Bot 2 Kinds Flora has advanced to 20th place, overtaking Bot Spearlike Kyle. Video King 24 is gaining on Koke by 90, narrowing the gap by 9.8. Smurf 20 and Nukembakken are dueling for 2p, while Super Lacroix and Simple Markers are locked in a tight battle for 14p, with different car models adding to the excitement. Bot Daisy Chains is making a strong move, closing in on Bot Spearlike car by 39.1. Super Lacroix and Simple Markers are duking it out for 14p, while Eric 81 DMC and Meyer are locked in a tight battle for 18p. Smurf 20 from Team for 20 and Nukembakken are in a battle for 2p. Stiffsmage and Junge has moved up to 9p, overtaking ST4NBZH. Stiffsmage and Junge and ST4NBZH are in a battle for 9p. Eric 81 DMC has made a move up to the 18th position, successfully overtaking Meyer. Meanwhile, Bot A Better Bloke and Bot Showbaxxt are locked in a battle for the 38th position. Stiffsmage and Junge in the Oslo Par 20 BMW and ST4NBZH in the Prager R1 are contesting for 9th place. Super Lacroix in the Global GT Light and Simple Markers in the Radical SR305 are locked in a battle for 14th place. Eric 81 DMC and Meyer are engaged in a close fight for 18th place. Eric 81 DMC and Meyer are currently battling for the 18th position, while Bot A Better Bloke and Bot Showbaxxt are locked in a duel for 38th place. Super Lacroix and Simple Markers are currently engaged in a tight battle for the 14th position. Super Lacroix is piloting the Global GT Light, while Simple Markers is behind the wheel of a Radical SR305. Smurf 20 and Nukembakken are in a tight battle for 2nd place. Meanwhile, Bot Queenmandar and Shipperman are dueling it out for the 32nd position. It's an intense race with multiple close battles throughout the field. Super Lacroix from Team Death Robots and Simple Markers are fiercely contesting the 14th position. Shipperman has made significant progress, now at 32p, surpassing Bot Queenmandar. The battle for 32p continues between Shipperman in the back mono and Bot Queenmandar in the Audi A4. Bot Daisy Chains is closing in on Video King 24, reducing the gap by 9.8. Adam GT3 is also narrowing the distance to Bobardo by 3.2. Additionally, Nick Niar is decreasing the gap to One Serious Guy by 2.6. Nick Niar and One Serious Guy are fiercely contesting the 6th position. Meanwhile, Meyer has made progress, climbing to 16th place while overtaking Eric 81 DMC. Conversely, Eric 81 DMC has now overtaken Zago 22, securing 17th place. Video King 24 is gaining on Susanne Greenberg, reducing the gap by 10.9. Bot A Better Bloke is closing in on Bot Grand Alive, narrowing the gap by 7.7. Bot Zero to Malive has advanced to 19p, surpassing John 073. Bobardo is closing in on Nukembakken, reducing the gap by 5.1 seconds. Bot Daisy Chains is also gaining momentum, closing in on Bot Yakumen by 43.4 seconds. Meanwhile, Bot Squooja Champ is narrowing the gap to Noga 77 by 14.9 seconds. Nick Niar and One Serious Guy are dueling for the 6th spot in their KTM Expo R and Prager R1, respectively. Meanwhile, Meyer is making a move, narrowing the distance to simple markers by 2.5. Also, Bot Daisy Chains is closing in on Bot Shakaraman, reducing the gap by 2.8. One Serious Guy makes a move to take 6p from Nick Nyar in an exciting battle. Both drivers are pushing their Praga R1 and KTM Expo R cars to the limit. Okyoki 3 and Sidrik are currently in a heated battle for the 12th position. Meanwhile, Bot 40 Fro and Bot Scrooge-Champ are fiercely competing for the 29th spot, with Bot 40 Fro driving a BMW 320 and Bot Scrooge-Champ in a Seat Leonti. Hey there, someone! Welcome back to the channel. We're revved up to have you joining us again. Let's buckle up and enjoy the race together. Checkered flag. Okyoki 3 and Sidrik from Team COD are neck and neck fighting for the 12th position. Meanwhile, Shipperman has advanced to 31p, parsing Luke Runs. The battle is on between Shipperman in a back mono and Luke Runs in a Praga R1 for the 31st spot. Sidrik has advanced to 12th place, surpassing Okyoki 3. Zago 22 and Kokubai 90 are locked in a battle for 21st place. Luke Runs has progressed to 31st place, overtaking Shipperman. Welcome back to the channel, Amaljet. It's great to have you back with us for some AI race car action. Okyoki 3 makes a strong move, jumping up to 12th place by overtaking Sidrik. They are now locked in a battle for that position. Meanwhile, Kokubai 90 and Zago 22 are fighting it out for 21st place. One Serious Guy and Nick Nyar are going head-to-head for the 6th spot, with One Serious Guy in a Praga R1 and Nick Nyar in a KTM Expo R. Meanwhile, Okyoki 3 and Sidrik from Team COD are dueling it out for the 12th position. Additionally, Bot Singashi has made a move up to 42nd place, surpassing Amy. Hugged03 has overtaken ST4NBZH, securing the 10th position. Meanwhile, Okyoki 3 and Sidrik are currently engaged in a battle for 12th place. Hugged03 and ST4NBZH are now in a heated battle for the 10th position. Hugged03 is behind the wheel of an Osler Par 20 BMW, while ST4NBZH is maneuvering a Praga R1. Let's see who gains the upper hand in this exchange. One Serious Guy and Nick Nyar are duking it out for 6th place with the Praga R1 and KTM Expo R respectively. Meanwhile, Noga 77 and Bot 40 Fro are battling for 28th position with an Osler Par 21 Honda and a BMW 320. Exciting action throughout the grid.